I don't give a love a fuck about what them bitches gotta say. I'ma West a nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't give a love a fuck about what them niggas gotta say. I'ma West a nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't care about what they say. Fuck with my Akima, fuck with my sisters, then I got a problem, I'm never gonna miss you. I got 100 hanging out the AR, I got a 50 hanging out the pistol. He say it's corner, I'm just being realistic. I be on them corner posted with the realest. If it's the Sabbath, then we going fishing. I'm reeling them in, that's a God-given mission. I'm really on 10, but I'm stamped in the pistol. I get the order, be glad of this mission. Hebrew Academy graduate, nigga. Training, go through the baddest conditions. I don't fuck with none but the baddest of bitches. She righteous, submissive, she glad to be with me. Had that thing Putin like that, man. Niggas, she know I'm a prophet, she glad to be listening. Disrespect, I ain't having that shit. Tell her go make some business from scratch. She bitchin' the different breed of black men. We don't do the bad thing. I remember back when I was really trapping, trying to get the racks in, selling dope to black men. But now I'm trying to make it straight. Like, don't forget about my face. We standing up straight, can't fold us. Too heavy, the world won't hold us. Go get you some rank, I told you. Line up in these ranks, we sold you. You can take that to the bank, we focus on. How many times must we remind you? One body, one way, some break off, but never take off as a flex. When the law with your ain't no up next, it's just us, nigga, that's that on that. All that weak shit, that ain't no threat. Say you won't beat, bitch, with that ain't no sweat. We with all that. The Lord called a nigga out the world, I responded and called back. Oh Lord, and everything that they stole from us, fuck that shit, we want all that. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on, the commanding general, your hunter, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. That's why we unaffiliated with them. I cannot fuck around with fake niggas. We taking ground when we in your city. You better hide the women, hide the liquor. Keep that bitch on me, please don't butt the system. Don't be a fool and be another victim. Say you a goon, you just another Christian. How you my brother, you ain't in here with me. We in the gutter, deep down in the trenches. We with them niggas locked up in the prison. Black and Hispanic, Native American, Indian. We ain't just talking shit, but we living in it. We be everywhere, you can't miss it. And we be precious hell, take a picture. And we special now with the scriptures. Play, we gon' script them, yeah, we some killers. These niggas trippin', they mind blown. But business, forgive me if I'm wrong. I think they pause when niggas say that they be looking for niggas to slide on. The slide that I know about is when I assemble the Glock with the slide on. Real, I get the order, you know that it's slaughter. See me and my niggas gon' die. The bigger the better for kingdom of heaven. You niggas get wet up by me cause I'm fed up. I rep UPK. My niggas won't let up. Got choppers, got nines, AKs, Berettas. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with what me and my nigga like, bitch, it whatever. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with what me and my nigga like. My nigga like them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on, the commanding general, your hunter, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. See, they always ask us like, why y'all fuck with such and such? Why y'all won't come together with such and such? I be like, we unaffiliated with them. You understand me? Like, niggas be out here on some weirdo shit. And to be honest, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Hey, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah.
Shalom Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shabbarakathum Yahweh Shemalathum Bashem Yahweh Shah. This is the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. And we teach that so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indian are the chosen people of God, and our oppressors are them that the Bible speaks of. You tuned in with Priest and Officer of 1,000, Howard Moore, ISUPK, Kentucky. And tonight is our Monday night history class. Now, before we get off into it, I want to invite every so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indian to tune in to our weekly content, because the content do be contenting. Of course, Monday night, you got the history class. Tuesday night, brotherhood class, 7 p.m., taught by Officer of 1,000. I'm a Wonga Bar. And Wednesday night, the podcast, Cry Out and Spare Not podcast, hosted by Officers of 1,000. I'm a Wonga Bar and ISUPK. And come in here, these two powerful priests and prophets in the UPK under Commander General Yohana, break down your entire timeline. Everything going across the internet, all the viral videos doing numbers. Watch these two powerful priests break them down and give you the biblical solution. Again, the biblical solutions to all the viral videos going across the internet. So Monday night history class, Tuesday night brotherhood class, and Wednesday night is the podcast. Now tonight, we finna get into American Indian contributions, because American Indian history is unknown for the most part, because there's been a concerned effort by our enemy, our 400-year open enemy, to hide and suppress the history of America's indigenous people. All right, there's been a concerned effort, mainly through the Board of Education, to hide and suppress the history of America's indigenous people. Well, tonight we finna get into American Indian contributions. Not all of them, because I ain't got that kind of time for you tonight. Not all of them. We finna get into some major ones that you might not have heard in history class. We finna get into some major ones that you might not have heard in history class. So again, tonight, ISUPK Kentucky Monday history class under Commander General Yohana. All right, American Indian contributions. Now, first of all, we fought in every single war, from the French and Indian War to the American Revolution, War of 1812, Civil War, World War I, World War II, etc. All right, first of all, French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763. All right, Slovakia, French and Indian War, 1754 1763, was a conflict between the British and the French. And American Indians fought on both sides of the conflict. It was a territory conflict in the American Northeast, and American Indians fought on both sides of the conflict. Now, Crispus Attucks, you might have heard the name Crispus Attucks before. All right, now, it's taught that he was the first person to die in the American Revolution. That's not true. He died in the Boston Massacre, which led up to the American Revolution. But what they don't tell you about him is that he was a Nantucket Indian. What they don't tell you about Crispus Attucks is that he was a Nantucket Indian. Here's your proof. All right, Crispus Attucks died in the Boston Massacre, was of Native American extraction, but called mulatto. Now, that was very common. If you look on census records from the late 1800s, it's very common to see American Indians classified as mulatto. All right, he is usually described as mulatto, but it seems more probably that he was a Natick Indian from Framingham. All right, source, Africans and Native Americans. Now, there was a group of people during the American Revolution that were allies with the British and enemies of the American colonists. They were called the Loyalists. Now, the reason they were allies of the British is because the British was cool with just trading. All right, they knew we had the tobacco popping over here. They knew we had the corn popping over here. We finna get into the foods later and show that foods that are indigenous to America feed 70% of the world today. But you had a group of Indians that were allies with the British because, again, the British just saw fit just to trade. All right, but enemies of the colonists because of who they were, the colonists. Let's talk about them. All right, May 1776, a coalition of northern tribes known as the Loyalists were allies of the British against American colonists. Now, here's a breakdown of the Revolutionary War. Like I said, we fought in every war that made this place great. So the Revolutionary War, United States and Great Britain. All right, here's their army. And if you go to the combatants, if you look at all of the American Indian tribes that fought on both sides, all right, the Tuscarora, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Micmac, all fought on the side of the United States. All right, the Mohawk, the Seneca, the Cherokee, the Muskogee fought on the side of the British. All right, though their stories are not often told, American Indians played major roles in the Revolutionary War, supporting both armies as scouts, soldiers, and diplomats. All right, notice it says supporting both armies. What does it mean to support something? All right, to support something means you're the backbone of something. You're the thing that makes it stand in the first place. All right, supporting both armies. The contributions of American Indians were critical to many important events, battles, and decisions that shaped the outcome of the war. And here's an image by this painter up here, Brave Men As Ever Fought. And it's an image depicting an army of American Indian soldiers during the American Revolution. All right, the Constitution. Again, tonight we're going to talk about the contributions of American Indians. Now, we talked about some of the wars that we fought in. Let's talk about something else that our oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of, gets from us as well. All right, the Constitution. All right, the Iroquois Great Law of Peace, the Iroquois Confederacy founded by the Great Peacemaker, 1142, is the oldest living democracy on earth. The U.S. Constitution owes its notion of democracy to the Iroquois tribes, including freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and separation of powers in government. 1988, the U.S. Senate paid tribute with the resolution that said the confederation of the original 13 colonies into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederation. So the idea of consolidating the 13 colonies into one republic was an idea given to them by the Iroquois Confederation. You wouldn't have the Great Republic, the so-called Great Republic, without the Iroquois Confederation. All right, the Iroquois, or forgotten founders, significantly influenced the joining together of the 13 colonies in 1776, the writing of the Articles of Confederation, and the construction of a federal system of government in 1787. All right, you can thank this whole setup to the Iroquois Indians. Their constitution, their joining together of the 13 colonies into one republic, the Articles of Confederation, and the construction of a federal system of government in 1787 all goes back to influence of the Iroquois Confederacy or the Iroquois Indians of the Northeast. All right, here's an image of the Iroquois. All right, the U.S. colored troops. Now let's go forward to the Civil War. All right, U.S. colored troops primarily comprised of black soldiers during the Civil War, also included American Indians who were all considered colored at that time. All right, United States colored troops also included American Indians who were all considered colored at that time. Let's walk. All right, United States colored troops played a crucial role in battles against Native American Confederates and often distinguished themselves with bravery and valor. Again, we fought on both sides of this conflict also. All right, American Indians and the United States colored troops fought against American Indians that fought on the side of the Confederacy. All right, here's the U.S. colored troops. All right, now I bet you didn't learn this in school. The last Confederate general to surrender during the Civil War was a general named Stan Wading. What they don't tell you is that he was Cherokee. All right, the last Confederate general to surrender was a Cherokee Indian named Stan Wading, who surrendered his command of Cherokee and Osage troops at Dokesville near Fortstown in Indian Territory, June 23rd, 1865. All right, the last general to surrender was a Cherokee named General Stan Wading. And who did he surrender to? He surrendered to the United States colored troops. All right, the United States colored troops that included American Indian soldiers won the Civil War. All right, the United States colored troops that included American Indian soldiers won the Civil War. And the last Confederate general to surrender was a Confederate general named Stan Wading, who was a Cherokee Indian. Here's him right here. All right, 1873, Seminole Indians served as Buffalo Soldiers without a single man killed in 25 actions. All right, later consolidated into 4 regiments, the 9th and 10th Cavalry, 24th and 25th Infantry Buffalo Soldiers, served mostly on the western frontier, building the infrastructure. All right, so Seminole Indians, Seminole Scouts rode with the Buffalo Soldiers. All right, conquered the West, took the West. It says served on the western frontier, building the infrastructure. All right, what they don't tell you in history class is that we were the first sheriffs. We were the first mailmen. We built the roads. We built the bridges. We built the buildings. We finna get into the buildings here in a minute. We built the buildings. We built the parks. We were the first park rangers. All right, we were the ones that took the West. All right, we took the West and made it what it is today. And here's your source. All right, World War I. World War I. If it hadn't been for North American Indians, all right, the Allies would have lost World War I. If not for North American Indians, the Allies would have lost World War I. All right, U.S. military codes kept being broken by Germans during World War I. A Native American tribe came to the rescue. They just spoke their own language, which baffled the enemy and paved way for other Native American code talkers in World War II. It's an irony that didn't go unnoticed by Choctaw soldiers fighting in World War I, while the tribe's children were being whipped for speaking their native tongue in schools back home in Oklahoma. On the battlefields of France, Native American language was much needed answer to a very big problem. All right, so this language that was being spoken by the Choctaw soldiers confused the enemy in France. But their children were beaten. Their children were having their backs beat in these schools back in Oklahoma for speaking this same language. All right, our oppressor, the so-called white man, is the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right, when the tribe's children were being whipped for speaking their native tongue in schools in Oklahoma, on the battlefields of France, the Native American language was the much needed answer to a very big problem. Here's your code talkers. All right, so again, we fought in every single war that made America the superpower that it became. We fought in every war that made America the superpower that it became. Now, what about entertainment? All right, Mississippi is considered the birthplace of American music. Y'all have heard me say this before. All right, music is the lifeblood of the Delta. Rock and roll was born there, emerging straight out the blues. R&B, jazz are also derived from the blues, and gospel and country have strong roots in the Delta. All right, Mississippi Delta blues is considered the birthplace of American music because it influenced all other genres, including rock and roll, R&B, gospel, country, and rap. And in that same area where the Delta blues began, lived many members of this tribe who were of Choctaw descent. One of these men is Charlie Patton, credited by all as the father of Delta blues. All right, so American music all goes back to the blues, and the father of blues music is a Choctaw Indian named Charlie Patton. And Native Americans were not credited for helping form blues, jazz, and rock. Again, I said at the beginning of class, it's a concerned effort to hide the history of America's indigenous people. It's been a concerned effort to hide the history and hide the greatness of America's indigenous people. Let's walk. He walked this down for y'all. All right. Traditions of brass band music exist in Indian country. The phrase Native American music may not suggest tubas and trumpets, but march music has been a part of American Indian culture for over a century. There's a history of the 20th century when all Indian bands toured the U.S. and abroad. So that halftime show, that marching band, that is American Indian culture. All right, Indian marching bands were performing in the mid-1800s for parades, fairs, exhibitions, attracting both native and non-native audiences. All right, this marching band music that's big down south, these halftime shows that are big down south, is American Indian culture. Here's your TSU marching band. All right, cowboy hats, fringes on the shirt. All right, American Indian culture. All right, indigenous people have played football for centuries, plural. So what's the halftime show without the game? Indigenous people have played football for centuries. The Carlisle Indians shaped modern American football with the invention of the forward pass, the spiral throw, and the handoff fake. And football is America's favorite sport. All right, records from the 17th century show the Powhatan played a game similar to modern soccer. After each match, there would be a large celebratory feast. All right, 17th century Powhatan Indians played a game similar to soccer. And soccer is the most popular sport in the world today. All right, our culture has spread all across the globe today. All right, let's get into food. I say it all the time. If you ain't got a food culture, you ain't got a culture. Because if you can't sit down long enough to figure out how to farm, if you don't sit down long enough to be able to watch the seasons, to know when to plant, to know when to harvest, when the winter's coming, when the spring is coming, you're not finna be around long enough to build a society. So farming is the root of any long-lasting society or civilization. All right, most important indigenous American crops include Indian corn, hominy, beans, sunflower, rice, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, peanuts, avocados, papayas, potatoes, and chocolate, and many more. Let's get into it. All right, Indian boiled cornbread is present in Southern cuisine. It's cornmeal dumplings and hush puppies. Southerners cooked their beans and field peas by boiling them, as did native tribes. And like the Native American Southerners, cured their meats and smoked it over hickory coals. All right, barbecue, the Black and indigenous roots of an American tradition. Barbecue is an American tradition of Black and Native Americans. 1514, DeSoto attended a feast of the Chickasaw tribe in present-day Mississippi, where a pig was roasted on a barbecue. We've been barbecuing since the 1500s. We've been barbecuing since the 1500s, as we still do today. And another word for cornbread, according to Merriam-Webster, is Indian bread. I bet you ain't learned this in school. All right, to a far greater degree than anyone realizes, several of the most important foods that Native Americans, such as the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Muskogee Creek of the southern United States live on today, is the soul food eaten by both black and white Southerners. Hominy, for example, is still eaten. Grits, cornbread used by Southern cooks, and Indian fritters, variously known as hoe cakes or hot water cornbread. All right, hot water cornbread is eaten by Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Muskogee Creek. All right. Also, it says your grits, your cornbread, your sweet potato pie, your chicken and dumplings, all right, was found in a Chickasaw cookbook in Oklahoma. In a Chickasaw cookbook, all the way in Oklahoma, they're cooking grits, cornbread, sweet potato pie, chicken, and dumplings. All right, all of this is American Indian culture. And the most important of them all is Indian corn. All right, the most important crop in America is Indian corn. It is consistently the most planted crop in the U.S., and corn accounted for nearly half of U.S. crop cash receipts in 2023. Now, why is this important? In the winter of 1609 was treacherous for early American settlers. Some of the 300 colonists at Jamestown died during this period, called the starving time. Evidence suggests that they were eating their fellow colonists. All right, winter of 1609 was treacherous for early American settlers. Some of the 300 colonists at Jamestown died during this period, called the starving time. Evidence suggests that they were eating their fellow colonists. This white man was eating each other to death. These people were eating each other to death because they ain't had a farming figured out. Now, remember I said farming is the origin of any civilization. Meaning, if you don't have a food culture, you're not a civilized person. If you don't have a food culture, you are not a civilized person. So the fact that these people were eating each other shows that the white man is not a civilized person. Let's walk. Let's walk. All right. Mohawk men building a skyscraper. I know you never learned this. I know none of us learned this in school because they would have us believe that we was all savages living in tents. Living in tents and so-called teepees. When I brought out a couple of months back that teepees actually come from Siberia. That's their culture. All right, Mohawk men building a skyscraper. All right, American Indians aren't often associated with New York City and its dense vertical landscape. With so many Indian nations pushed to the American frontier, the 19th century, they usually appear in popular culture as denizens of the rural West. Yet the Mohawk Nation has deep roots in metropolitan New York. Well, beginning in the early 20th century, iron workers contributed to the building of the iconic skyscrapers that dominate the Manhattan skyline. 1886, Mohawk men took jobs building the Victoria Bridge across the St. Lawrence River. The Iroquois, we talked about them earlier. All right, that's the origin of America's Constitution. Eventually took to the high steel and metropolitan areas, building the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, Rockefeller Plaza, and many other structures that shaped New York City skyline in the 20s and 30s. All right, American Indians built the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, and Rockefeller Plaza. All right, by 1960, Atlantic Avenue and Boerum Hill in the area of Brooklyn was home to about 800 Mohawk iron workers and their relatives. Storekeepers supplied the ingredients for favorite Mohawk recipes like cornbread. Didn't I show you earlier? According to Merriam-Webster, another word for cornbread is Indian bread. All right, this enclave of indigenous tradesmen centered around the Brooklyn Local 361 Iron Workers Union made up largely of Mohawks. Old timers in the Brooklyn neighborhood would recall the booming 1920s and 30s when the Mohawk became legend while building the nation's most bustling metropolis. All right, American Indians built large skyscrapers in America. All right, built Rockefeller Plaza. All right, built the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building. All right, here's another photograph. All right, downtown Montreal. Now, where does this come from? All right, how do you get Mohawk Indians way up north building skyscrapers? But what they don't tell you is that in the Mohawk Nation, all right, in your American Northeast, on the other side in Canada, is that the Mohawks built castles. Here's a map of it from the 1600s. And I got the source. All right, history of the Mohawk Valley, gateway to the west, 1614 to 1625. Canadian, French, and Indian War Party of 625 burned the Mohawk castles. There was 3 of them. The destruction of their castles greatly weakens the Mohawks' power. All right, the Mohawk Indians were building castles in the 1600s. So it's no surprise that they could build skyscrapers in the 1900s. Again, it's a concerned effort to hide the history of America's indigenous people. Now, what about this culture? Y'all notice the whole world is gone country? Have y'all noticed the whole world is gone country? Y'all heard this boots on the ground craze? They got this line dance with them fans out. All right, the whole world has gone country. Where does it come from? Where does it come from? All right, this is Bill Pickett. All right, 1922. All right, the real Cherokee Bill. All right, you might have heard the name from a movie, The Harder They Fall. All right, this is the real Cherokee Bill. All right, the real Cherokee Bill, Bill Pickett. And there's no such thing as a rodeo without Bill Pickett. All right, 1922. All right, rodeos gained popularity in the late 19th century, became venues for cowboys to showcase their skills and style. Well, we know the early cowboys were Black and Hispanic and North American Indian. All right, concert promoter founded the Bill Pickett Invitation in 1984. The Turin Rodeo celebrates Black cowboys. 89, Pickett was inducted into the Rodeo Hall of Fame. And here is an image of the real Cherokee Bill. So you want to know where this whole country craze is coming from? You want to know why the whole world has gone country? It's because it is Black, Hispanic, and North American Indian culture. All right, this is our culture. All right, here's another image of Cherokee Bill. All right, Bill Pickett. Now, after all of the contributions that we've made to this place, all right, we are the reason that America won every war that made America great. We fought in the Revolution. We fought in the War of 1812. We fought in the Civil War, World War I, World War II. And we are the reason that America became a superpower. All right, our music culture, through a Choctaw Indian named Charlie Patton, is where you get American music from. There would be no American music without an American Indian named Charlie Patton and giving us the blues. Without blues, you don't have gospel. Without blues, you don't have country. Without blues, you don't have R&B and rap. After giving them our food culture, remember I showed you in the 1600s, all right, 300 colonists at Jamestown died of starvation to the point where they were eating each other. The white man was eating each other. He is such a savage that they were eating each other. And now they have our food culture today. And foods that come out of the Americas still feed 70% of the world today. After we gave them our country and Western culture, which they stole. But you wouldn't have country music without a man named Leslie Riddle. Look him up. You wouldn't have country music without a man named Leslie Riddle. Look him up. After we built their skyscrapers in the Northeast. After we took the Southwest and built the infrastructure. This is what they repaid us with. In the 1970s, doctors in the United States sterilized 42% of Native American women of childbearing age, some as young as 15. 42% of Native American women were sterilized, some as young as 15 years old. This is the thanks that we get. All right, the USDA comes out of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. This is important. I need y'all to walk with me on this one. Really walk with me on this one. All right, the USDA comes out of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Early in its history, the American economy was largely farming. In 1829, by request of James Smithson, the Smithsonian Institute was established, though it did not yet incorporate agriculture. All right, sidebar, the Smithsonian holds in storage the remains of 10,000 American Indian bodies. The Smithsonian right now holds the remains of 10,000 American Indian bodies. That's a sidebar. All right. Henry Ellsworth, the Commissioner of Patents for the Department of the State, the Commissioner of the Indian Tribes, and the founder of what became the USDA. All right, 1849, the Patent Office was transferred to the newly created Department of the Interior. Within the Interior Department, the Bureau of Indian Affairs handles federal relationships with American Indians. The mission is to mandate historically reflected the U.S. government's prevailing policy of forced assimilation of native peoples and the annexation of land. All right, the USDA comes out of the Bureau of Indian Affairs with the purpose of forced assimilation of American Indian people. This is important. Watch this. All right, 71% of the USDA's budget goes toward nutrition assistance programs. All right, formerly called the food stamp program. All right, or SNAP benefits today. All right, so the USDA comes out of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. 71% of the budget goes to the SNAP program. All right, formerly called the food stamp program. Watch this. Historically, American Indians have been far more likely to experience food insecurity than white Americans, Black Americans, or Hispanic Americans. 1 in 4 Native Americans experience food insecurity compared to 1 in 7 Americans overall. So again, the USDA comes out of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. 71% of the USDA's budget goes to the SNAP program. But American Indians are starving. All right, the white man is truly the devil that the Bible speaks of. And again, this is the thanks that we get for building America. This is the thanks that we get for giving our culture to America. All right, across the United States, Native women and girls are being taken and murdered at an unrelenting rate. 2016, there were 5,712 reports of missing American Indian women and girls, though the U.S. Department of Justice Federal Missing Persons Database only logged 116 cases. 5,712 reports of missing American Indian women and girls, but the U.S. Department of Justice only logged 116 cases. All right. Recent immigration and customs enforcement raids have raised the alarms for tribes whose citizens are being unjustly detained and questioned. Now, this is just insult to injury. This is just insult to injury. Have you heard that ICE is harassing Indians on reservations? All right. The Trump administration claims raids target illegal immigrants with criminal records. However, at least some agents are making judgments based on appearance, including skin color and language of an individual, rather than concrete information about immigration status or criminal record. There have been reports of Native individuals being detained by ICE based upon their appearance, and ICE officers' limited or non-existent understanding of the status of Natives as U.S. citizens. Both Navajo and Mascarello tribal members have been reportedly stopped. Just to insult to injury, ICE is harassing Indians on reservations. Do you still not believe that Trump is a racist? Do you still not believe that Donald Trump hates Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians? All right, Indians are being harassed by ICE agents on reservations right now. Right now. To have Native people be harassed by immigration officials, have their citizenship status questioned, or be mocked by online trolls saying send them home speaks to the lack of education about indigenous people by a large proportion of the population. Proposed plans to eliminate or overhaul the education system in ways that would ignore accurate history around Native Americans won't help this situation. Look, if you want the real history of America's indigenous people, all right, come holler at your brother. All right, ISUPK Kentucky Monday Night History class under Commander General. All right, ICE deports 3 American children. ICE deports 3 American children. All right, National Immigration Project said the mothers weren't given a fair opportunity to decide whether they wanted the children to remain in the United States. What we saw from ICE over the last several days is horrifying and baffling. Families have been ripped apart unnecessarily. We should be gravely concerned that ICE has been given tacit approval to both detain and deport U.S. citizens. Do you still not believe Donald Trump is a racist? Do you still not believe that Donald Trump hates Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians? Well, let's prove it. Let's drop that. Let's go to the Bible and let's prove that Donald Trump hates Blacks, Hispanics, and North American Indians. And not just Donald Trump. Not just Donald Trump. But our 400-year open enemy. Let's read it. Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in their time of calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right, the Bible says thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by force. All right, these people have a perpetual hatred for us. Didn't we just read that after everything we gave to this country, in the 1970s, 42% of Native women on reservations were sterilized? These people have a perpetual hatred for the Lord's chosen people. But God got something for them. All right, verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. All right, the Lord said, prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. All right, all the blood that they've spilled in this place, for all the murder, the torture, the lynchings, the burnings, the castrations. All right, sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. All right, for all the blood that the white man has spilled, blood is going to pursue him. All right, verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. All right, Mount Seir is the biblical homeland of the so-called white man. All right, thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. All right, the white man is going to be made desolate. All right, desolate. Verse 8, and I will fill his mountains with his slain men, in thy hills and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. All right, the Bible also says Esau was blessed with the sword. All right, the Bible says Esau was blessed with the sword. And the Lord said, and I will fill his mountains with his slain men, in thy hills and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers, they that fall that are slain with the sword. Well, I ain't even got to break this down. All right, for all the bloodshed that the so-called white man has committed, all right, blood is going to pursue him. All right, it says, shall they fall that are slain with the sword. All right, all the mountains are filled with his slain men, all the hills, all the valleys, and all the rivers. Because the Bible said, thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel. Blood is going to pursue him. All right, this is the end of the reign of our oppressor. All right, so let's drop that. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. All right, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Monday night history class. ISUPK, Kentucky, under Commanding General Yohana. Again, Tuesday night brotherhood class, 7 p.m. Officer of 1,000. I'm a Wanga Bar. Come check out this brotherhood class every Tuesday. And Wednesday night, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., Cry Out, Spare Not podcast, hosted by Officers of 1,000. I'm a Wanga Bar and ISUPK. And with that, we'll go ahead and end it. We'll do one courtesy salute. Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatham. Yahweh Shemalatham Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Class is dismissed.
Back row.
But I'm a player and there's no more women riding for me. I avoided Maury. I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. It's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gun on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart, grip my bow tie. Waiting on this war in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart, grip my bow tie. Living in this war in my whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, it got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic. And you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name
features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her, they don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on her face, but it's not concealing the pain, it's a shame. So I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you in your mouth or scat pack. Dark tint, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that guy flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Tahoe Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Light is in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. You can't, the streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know lie. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on this war in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know lie. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in this war in my whole life. My whole life.
Backstage.
You ain't no Israelite, but you a gospelite, bitch.
Fuck you talking about?
If that nigga won't walk, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. Hawk, I keep that stick locked, loaded, boy, he'll fade just line up. Young nigga named Slayer. What you think, boy? You be done to try. South Coast shit, we bout it. UPK soup solid. Little bitch think I'm crazy, think I'm playing like bitch. I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood. Hood. More than you, bitch. Sharp on shit, I'm bout it. UPK soup solid. Fuck nigga don't want war. It ain't enough clips in your army. All the bitches wanna take my piece. All they hoes wanna take my piece. All the niggas wanna take my piece. No, I can't let a dog take it from me. I can't let a dog take it from me. You a whole study and you dummy. And these bitches really out this bitch walking around like they don't know nothing. And a lame nigga fall for them and get set up for the coins and get gunned down, man down. Shoulda took the time, get a damn no. But I see the starter and I show her. She could never get a priest hold. You a dirt ass, rust ass neck bitch with that fake ass jewelry. In Tennessee while I'm touring. It's a Tennessee, but she luring. Yeah, that sucker duck bitch ass boy, fuck nigga over that bit muggin'. I say, if that nigga won't walk, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. Hawk, I keep that stick locked, loaded, boy, he'll fade just line up. Young nigga named Slayer. What you think, boy? You be done to try. South Coast shit, we bout it. UPK soup solid. Little bitch think I'm crazy, think I'm playing like bitch. I ain't the one. Warfare every day, so who is you, bitch? I don't need your love. Killers right round the way. What you think? I love this brotherhood. Hood. More than you, bitch. You a lame nigga down to me. Eat candy, but I'm sucker free. You a little nigga, ain't nothing to me. Base up, boy, I fit a beat. Yeah, AR-223. Draco with a magazine. Yeah, that clip look like limousine. I shoot your ass in the spleen. Boy, I bust your ass in the temple. We debating by the temple. Tell the truth, boy, you's a victim. And you're scoring off like a lizard. Nigga walk down my road. Why does nigga come down my road? Boy, come down my road. Boy, I charge your ass toll fee. I'm a real big priest, nigga. UPK play for keys, nigga. Commander General get a damn order, but ain't nothing to me to damn kill you. I was stalking his ass like a cat. All weapons, boys full of tech. Boy, like a close comeback. Nigga, I popped off for a neck. If that nigga won't walk, bitch, we ready. It ain't hard to find us. Hawk, I keep that stick locked, loaded, boy, he'll fade just line up. Young nigga named Slayer. What you think, boy? You be done to try. South Coast shit, we bout it. UPK soup solid. Little bitch think I'm crazy, think I'm playing like bitch. I ain't the one. Warfare every